All right, y'all. Today, our Working Woman Wednesday salute goes to the one and only Miss Amy Bramson, who is in the building. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning. Good morning.
Amy, we are so excited to have you on the show because we are officially in National Women's History Month.
Yes. Exactly.
And you are doing something very special with the arts and bringing our heroes, our sheroes, to the light on the stage. But before we get into this one-woman show you've got going on, right? Amy, tell us a little bit about your background because you are an incredibly talented actress. You've been out here for a while, so tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, will do. Let me start off by saying it is a pleasure and an honor to be here, especially considering it's a Wednesday and you're celebrating women on this particular Wednesday. I guess on many Wednesdays, and so thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm an actor. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I've been acting professionally for about 30 years. I've been on some TV. I've done theater, and I'm at a place right now where I've decided, well, look, I'm a woman of a certain age, and we all know what that means. Right. And I've come to a place in my life and my career where it became clear to me that I had to, if I want to continue working, and I do, because it's what I do, it's what I've done for a long time, it became clear to me that I needed to create opportunities for myself. And so that's what really got me going with this show and with another one-woman show that I'm creating. And it's exciting. It's frightening too.
Yeah, right. Because it's just you up there. Typically, you're used to other people on there.
Exactly. And I have to say, I do have musicians up there. I have a pianist, a bassist, and a drummer. So I have that back up. But yeah, in terms of the performing, the acting, it's just me.
Wow. So have you ever done a one-woman show before, or is this your first time?
I had never done one before. Yeah, this is the first time, which is and it's interesting because I never actually expected that I would do one. It's not like I was planning, this is the turn that I'm going to make. Life is funny that way. Yeah. But sort of going back to being older, getting older, hopefully getting wiser, and also becoming sort of like growing into myself as an artist. Right. There was no way, I don't feel like there's any way that I could stop now. And opportunities, let's be real, they do dry up as you get older. As as an actor and in a lot of professions, that's true. So for me, it was really, it was sitting with myself and taking a real good look at what I wanted to do and how I wanted to move forward. And as uneasy and uncomfortable as that was, the result of it is this show.
Wow. And the name of it is Phenomenal Women.
Yes.
Okay, first thing when I saw the title, I thought about Maya Angelou.
Of course.
Okay, and then you're telling their stories, Maya Angelou, Zora Neale Hurston, Ruby Dee, and others. Yes. Tell us, how did you go about selecting these women, and when you're on the stage, do you become these women each? How does it work?
So in terms of selecting them, yes, indeed. It started with the poem that we all know, the phenomenal poem, Phenomenal Woman. I was looking at that poem in the collected works of Maya Angelou. We all know the poem. I looked at it and I thought, because we all know it, and I remember from back when I was a kid, younger, in college, and I had seen it and I'd seen someone perform it, and it just seemed a little intimidating to me. I think because of the confidence. When you think about that poem, the woman in that poem is absolutely confident in herself, in her sexuality, in her womanness. And at that time, I thought, that's a great poem.
We're going to leave that right there.
Exactly. And then, so fast forward all these years, I looked at that poem and I just said, now's the time. Ooh. Right? And so that's where it started. And then, I started thinking about who inspires me? Who are the women who inspire me? And the first one I came to was Ruby Dee.
Because you're in acting. So.
Yes. And she's just been a role model for me since I was very, very small. I mean, she's from Cleveland too. Hometown girl. And we all know she was extraordinary performer, but also she was a writer and a civil rights activist.
Absolutely.
So in this piece, a lot of times what I do is I take the person who's famous. Not all of the women are famous, but for those who are, I celebrate them for something other than what we know them for, because they're phenomenal in many ways. So Ruby Dee is an example. Zora Neale Hurston, who you mentioned, I thought of her because of Their Eyes Are Watching God. We're watching God. The novel that is, frankly, a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Right. And I was introduced to that. Had to read it in college in whatever class that was. And so what's so extraordinary about her to me? There are many things really, but she had this way of taking the culture and the language of Black people, and she heard the poetry in it, and she put it down in a way that was unlike any other writer I've ever read.
Yeah.
And so in her case, despite what I just said, I do lift her up for her writing ability. But the other thing about her, too, is that, she was writing during the Harlem Renaissance, during a time when you think about how many women can we name who were writing back then?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
She is one of few. And it was only until Alice Walker sort of wrote this piece in Ms. Magazine back in the 70s that Zora Neale Hurston came back to the fore because she had been forgotten about. And that's a part of this too, sort of these women who, have sort of powered through with their art, with their struggle, sort of stood in their truth, regardless of whether or not they've been, recognized for it along the way.
We've got Amy Bramson in the building. She's our Working Woman Wednesday salute. Her show is going to be playing in Baltimore, Phenomenal Women. That's going to be March 8th through 10th, correct?
That's right, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about where we can find this. And I think there's so many of us that need to just come out and see it. And I encourage people not only just for you to come see it, but bring somebody with you.
Absolutely.
In particular, try to bring a young person because I think it's so great for us to keep our stories out there and for you to be essentially this incredible storyteller and using your skill, your art to educate us while entertaining us. I think there's so many young people, not just young girls or young women, but young people in general that need to hear these women's stories, especially because you're adding a different perspective where we're not just going to hear the things we've always heard about these women, but we're going to find different angles. So let us know how we can go see Phenomenal Woman.
For sure. It's at Baltimore Theater Project. So you can go to theaterproject.org and get tickets there. You can also go to my website, which is amybrabson.com. And I should say Amy is spelled AMI, BRABSON.com. And I just want to add, just like you just said, it's important to add that this is an entertaining show.
Right. Yeah.
Because, you can talk about all these things and think, oh, that's kind of heavy. And there is a significance to it in that way. But it's storytelling. There's some dancing. There's acting, of course. I mean, there's poetry. And there's joy. There's joy in this celebration of these women. So I think it's important to put that out there too, that you will come and you will have a good time. You'll laugh, and hopefully you'll walk away and think. It's a thought-provoking show as well.
Speaking of joy, what do you enjoy more, the stage or the camera?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say the stage, and I think mainly because you get that immediate feedback. And there's something wonderful about that. Now, the interesting thing about being on camera is that, you only got to do it right once. So however many takes it takes, it could be 1, it could be 15. But you get it right that much on stage is a different story. There's a different kind of challenge to both of them, and so like with the on film or television or whatever, you really have to be able to settle and calm and breathe because the camera is like you and I sitting next to each other as opposed to the audience that's way out there. So that's the adjustment you have to make.
Don't break the fourth wall.
Right? Don't do that.
Before we let you go, Amy, to any aspiring actor or actress out here, I know you've kind of brought up a lot of some of the I call it ageism a little bit, as you're growing and how that changes. To anybody who's aspiring to act, but we've also seen like Taraji P. Henson break some barriers struggles, and she speaks on that a lot, is like, being an older woman in Hollywood and the struggles of that. But just in general, for anybody looking to be in this field, what would you tell them from your experience? What are the things they absolutely need to have right now? If you're not already doing this, you need to get on it if you're going to get into this industry and stay in this industry.
I guess what I would do is talk in a broad way, is that you need to surround yourself with people who are supportive, genuinely supportive of you, people who frankly love you, because there are a lot of haters. And this is hard. What we do is hard. And as actors, we're asked to expose ourselves. We're asked to put our hearts, and the truth out there. So that's the first thing I would say. And the second thing I would say, which is a longer conversation, but in whatever way you can, try and be clear about what it is you believe about yourself, because it's a confidence game, and I know there's also a lot of training to be done, and that's might have been what you were talking about. That's why I said I wanted to talk more broadly.
Yeah.
But part of it is confidence and belief in oneself. And then the other thing I will say is, in terms of getting training, try and, as best you can, use that sort of common sense, that inner voice that tells you whether or not the teacher who's teaching you is actually teaching you anything. Because there are a lot of instructors in this world, but they're not all good. Right?
Yeah. That's a fact.
So, yes. And so if you get on this track with somebody who is not actually who is not gifted, who is, you know what I mean? Who is, but
tell it how it is.
Right. And sort of being able to suss that out. And if you can't figure it out yourself, then go to somebody who you think is a little bit more experienced, a little bit wiser than you are, and bounce it off of them, so that so it's not like being on a treadmill.
Yeah.
So you're not just spinning your wheels, I guess that's what I would say.
Amy, thank you so much. Thank you for that advice. Thank you for just being here and sharing with us. We appreciate you. Happy National Women's History Month.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for bringing these stories out here. One more time, Phenomenal Women. It's in Baltimore.
Baltimore Theater Project.
Yep, from March 8th through the 10th.
That's right. Yeah.
And if they want to get their tickets?
If they want to get their tickets, theaterproject.org, or at my website, amybrabson.com. AMI Brabson, BRABSON.
Can we hit you if we want you to be our coach, our acting coach?
Absolutely.
We might. Okay. I'm trying to coach. You gave some great advice.
We're trying to broaden our horizon,
Shay Parker said we moving to Facebook
process
now.
is nervous.
Yes, we are.
We're moving to Facebook. We need some coaching lessons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And once again, thank you. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Amy Bramson. Thank you so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.